in a second because I forgot to start the recording. All right. So some of the ways that the library can help you is one thing that's important is the library can help you save time. We can help you search faster. We have resources and people that are here to help you find the information that you need more efficiently so that you have more time to do the other things you want to do in your life. This is an actual quote from an HCC student who attended one of our webinars, and I'll tell you about our webinars in a few minutes. The quote is, HCC libraries are pretty straightforward and able to provide the sources that are accurate and what we need instead of searching not reliable sources online. Some ways that you can save time. So you probably already know it's easy to find information using the free internet. You type your question into Google and you get millions of results. But is it the right information? Is it about the actual topic that you're searching for? Is it accountable? These are all questions that you might want to ask when you're looking at information on the free internet. Do you have to pay? Probably find a lot of good scholarly information on the free internet that wants you to pay to read an article. Like, some of these articles will cost you $45 or $90 or $100 to read. But HCC already pays for databases with a lot of scholarly articles that you can read without paying any more money. And another problem with information on the free internet is sometimes you to use your computer. And some of the sites are not really well designed. They might, just make it really hard for you to actually work with information. So these are all some things to think about when you're searching for information on the free internet. And I can tell you too, I have helped a lot of people who have come to me in desperation, because a lot of people like to do things for themselves, and said, I have been searching for this topic for 4 hours or for 8 hours or all weekend. And they were searching the free internet, and it was not optimized to make their search experience a good one. So come to a librarian before you spend 4 or 8 hours or a weekend or whatever trying to find your information. And I'll show you some of our databases and ways that we find information. I don't know about y'all, but I'm very much an I do it myself kind of person. So I always like to try to, search for something before I ask for help, but never be afraid to ask for help, because that is exactly what we are here for, is to help you. One of the things that helps is after you get better at searching library databases with some of the tips and tricks that we can show you, is that you'll also become a better searcher on the free internet. When you've looked at a lot of credible, reliable, accurate sources through the databases, you start to recognize things that you'll want to look for when you are searching the free internet. Because we're not against the free internet. We love it. We love searching. We love finding information. But the skills that you learn searching our databases will help make you a better searcher on the free internet. So now I'm going to switch to looking at the library homepage and show you some of the things that we have there to help you. All right, so this is the library homepage. And I'm going to put the link in the chat. There are at least 3 different ways for you to get to the library homepage from the HCC homepage. I tend to go directly from this link, library.hccs.edu, but you can also get there through several different links on HCC's front page and also on the pages with all the boxes, the My Eagle page. So you have a few different options for searching here on the front page of the library. You've got the Eagle Library Search, which is front and center. This search searches about half of our databases plus our ebooks, and when we are fully online, or when we're fully back on campus, it also searches our physical books. Right now, there are only certain physical books that it accesses because only the books that are at the locations that have pickup right now can be found. That gets complicated, so if you are looking for a physical book, ask us for help. And one way to ask us for help, I don't know if you saw this, it popped up over in the corner. You have this Ask a Librarian box. That is our library chat. We are logged into library chat during any of the hours that the library is open, which are listed here in this blue box on the right side of the screen. And those are HCC librarians, so they're familiar with our system, they're familiar with our resources, they're familiar with, what we're going through here in this area. And they can help you both, they can help you find research sources, they can help you find books to read for fun if you want, they can help you find videos, they can help you find peer-reviewed academic resources, they can help you find all kinds of things. So don't be afraid to use that because, we're sitting there logged in waiting for you to ask us questions. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and say no thanks because I want to show you a few of the different things about this page. So I was talking about this, the bar in the middle, which is the Eagle Library Search. So if you have a research paper and you don't know very much about the subject, you might want to go ahead and search that bar. Does anybody have a paper they're working on right now that they need to find information for? And if you do, you can type your topic in the Q&A, and I can do a quick sample search and show you some of the ways to look at information using that search. And while you're thinking of a topic, and I'll just pick whatever shows up first, I can show you a few other things that we'll go through. Another important link, this databases link, that takes you directly to our list of library databases. So I told you that the Eagle Library Search searches about half of our databases, plus our ebooks and many of our physical books. If you already are familiar with some different databases or you have a specific subject that you're searching in, you might want to go directly to the databases link. And I'll show you some ways to search that in a second. And another really useful thing here is the careers button. Okay, so not a paper, but a lab course in physics where you write lab reports that require references. Okay, so what kind of reference might you need for a lab report? Okay, and here we have research plus working bibliography, list companies we can work for, but list hiring practices, social presences, etc. So these are two different types of things that you might look for, but you can find information to help you with both of them on the library page. So for companies, I might do something like go directly to a specific database for that. Or actually, I might go to the careers. So I'm looking at this research plus working bibliography for companies you can work for. All right. For that, I'm going to go to the careers tab. I'm clicking on the careers tab now. And this is a curated list of some of our best resources for careers. There are other resources, but these you should be able to get the majority of information that you need. Ferguson's Career Guidance Center is one good place that you can go to find information about different jobs that are available. ONET Online and Occupational Outlook Handbook are also good. And then, of course, we've got HCC's Career Coach and Career Hub that will also give you a lot of information about jobs and companies that are hiring. Okay, and the person who is in physics is using online sources at the moment, like websites, but they guess they could use other research papers, possibly. So if you were looking for research papers, say in, what's that one, in physics, I can show you how to find databases that are more specific to your topics. So I just clicked on the careers tab to show you some of our careers resources where you can find information about jobs and companies. This time I'm clicking on databases. So as you can see, we have about 287 databases. And the reason we have 287 databases is because different databases have different specialties. So every single database isn't going to contain the kind of information that you need. Figuring out how to find the database that does contain the information that you need is going to help you a lot. So if you're looking for something for physics, what I did was I clicked on subject, and I'm going to filter down to databases that librarians consider to be some of the better ones for, say, sciences. And I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. And one of the reasons why it's a good idea to ask librarians, like go onto the chat and ask librarians, is we all have our own preferences of specific databases that we like. And the ones that I like best for things like physics are Science and Technology Collection and SciTech Collection Premium. What kind of topic might you use as an online source for a physics lab paper? So when you click on, while I'm waiting for the answer to that, when you click on any of these databases, you're going to get a login prompt, and that is your W number and password. We have one or two things that require your library barcode. If you do not have a library barcode or you don't know what it is, you can contact us through the chat and we can email you your library barcode to your student number. Okay, conservation of energy and work. So while I was talking, I clicked on SciTech Premium Collection, and so I'm looking at what it suggests. So I started typing conservation of energy, so I could click on law of conservation of energy, principle of conservation of energy, conservation of energy theory. So I could check any of those, or I can just type in conservation of energy and see what I get. I would have the option to click full text and peer reviewed, which is not a bad idea to click on it, but I already hit enter. But no worries, because it gives me another chance to do that. Full text is because some of our databases contain information about articles without actually containing the articles themselves, which is useful as you go further along in your education. So that's why it's good that it's there, but a lot of times to search most effectively and efficiently for your projects now, you'll probably want to go ahead and click full text and peer review to make sure you can see the entire article. Some of you may have already had the situation come up where you've found the title that you like, but you can't get to the actual item. Clicking full text is one way to get around that, but also when that happens, you can use the library chat and we can see if we can help you find the full text. I'm going to click full text and peer reviewed. And then you can look at what kinds of things are available. And these are broken down into source type. And this is a specific science database, but our databases all work in very similar ways. That's one of the things I was sort of hinting at earlier when I was talking about as you learn to search, you'll become a better searcher because you get used to how things are laid out, how you can look at things and find what you're looking for. So I clicked on magazines to see what might come up. And so you can explore that and see if anything there helps you. You can also add more information to the search bar. And just sort of when you're looking for your sources, give it a try. Try out this one, try the other science and technology database that I pointed out, and see if that gets you to something that is more reliable and credible. Now I'm just going back to the main library of the page, or the main page of the library. And I am going to move on, but if you have questions, you can go ahead and type them in whatever is convenient to you, the chat or the Q&A. Because now I'm going to move on to show you some ways that you can save money and get information for free. And this isn't just scholarly information like what I just showed. That science and technology database is full of articles that would be really expensive if you tried to access them on the free internet. But we also have databases that can help you find information for fun, for your hobbies. So we just talked about researching information in databases. We also have some really good test preparation databases. So for example, if you are planning to take tests to get into graduate school someday, or you're interested in law school or medical school, or you want to be a police officer, or you need to take the Hcc for nursing, we have all kinds of test preparation in our databases that can help you with all of those. And two of those are under that careers button that I showed you a little bit earlier. So if there is specific interest in looking at those, I can go ahead and demonstrate and show you some of the things available in those databases. But I also have other databases I like to show because we have a service called Flipster, where you can read popular magazines on your device, or on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, whatever you have to that's internet connected, that you can use with our databases. So we have Flipster magazines, we have online newspaper articles, and we have ebooks and audiobooks. And we are working on helping to provide more computers as well. So keep an eye on our website, keep in contact with your instructors about that, ask us on chat, and we can help you with that. So the things that I wanted to show you first, I will start by showing you Flipster, and then I want to show you some of our one of our more fun databases. But if you have a specific interest in test prep, let me know in the chat, and I can also show you that as well. So back to the main library page, typing it, not sure if you can see the chat, but I'm typing it in the chat, library.hccs.edu. We already looked at the top part of this page for a while, but if we scroll down, we can see that we had a special feature for Black History Month. Right below the special feature, we've got this thing called HCC Libraries Flipster. And this shows you the magazines that we have subscriptions to through Flipster. And I'm just letting it scroll so you can see some of the ones we have. let's see. I'm looking to see what I might want to click on. Do any of those magazine titles intrigue anyone? Got Vogue, W Magazine, 3D World, American Cinematographer, uh, AD, Architectural Digest, Artists Magazine. Let's click on The Atlantic. So from that thing on the library page, I clicked on the cover. And from this page on my computer, I can read this issue. But there's also an app you can download to read magazines on your phone. And one of the cool things about the app is that you can put in your HCC credentials, your W number and password to have access to all the magazines HCC subscribes to. But if you have a Houston library card, a public library card, you can also put in your Houston Public Library credentials and get access to the magazines that they subscribe to as well, which we don't subscribe to the same magazines. So that gives you even more magazines that you can read. And if you live in Texas, you are eligible for a Houston Public Library card. So this is what it would look like to read it on your computer. So it's basically the whole magazine. So you don't have to buy it, and you can just conveniently read it, just wherever you are. A cool thing about the app is it lets you download issues too. So that is Flipster. Like I said, lots of cool magazines. Plus, if you use the app, and here's information for getting the app. If you use the app, you can also get your subscriptions to magazines through the public library as well. One of the other things I wanted to show you, again, along the lines of as you practice searching databases. Oh yeah, so we got a comment. That's cool. I didn't know HCC Libraries offered this. Oh, I hope you'll really enjoy exploring it. There's a lot of good magazines in there, I think. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going back to the database links. I want to show you one of my favorite databases for just fun. Is anybody here a maker? Do you like to make things? Do you knit or crochet or sew or work on cars or make model airplanes or make robots? Gosh, what else? Do you cook? Yeah, so we have people who sew and cook and make things. So we have a few different databases where you can get information, for free about different hobbies. And the database I'm going to is basically the Hobbies and Crafts Reference Center. So it starts with H for hobbies. So I'm using this little alphabetical list because I know exactly the name of the database I want to go to. So go to H, scroll down just a little bit to Hobbies and Crafts Reference Center. Notice right below it, we've got the Home Improvement Reference Center. And then some of the other information, like if you work on cars, we have information about working on cars in a slightly different area. And for cooking, some of that will show up in some of these, and some of that is in its own category because we have the culinary program. So I'm clicking on the Hobbies and Crafts Reference Center. And it shows you categories, but this doesn't cover everything that they offer. So some of the things that they are highlighting here: arts and crafts, collecting, home and garden, indoor recreation, kids crafts, model building, needle crafts and textiles, outdoor recreation. So I like to look at actually the needle crafts because I knit and sew and crochet, and some needle craft books are very expensive. So I can click on, say, knitting, and I just started knitting a cardigan. So I'm going to go ahead and click on sweaters and tops and see what kinds of patterns that this gives me. And so when I look at this, I'm looking at the names of the magazines. Since I am hand knitting, I'm probably not going to want to read something about machine knitting, but if I had a machine, I have a friend who has a knitting machine, then that would be great. So I am going to click on something from Interweave Knits. Interweave Knits is a really great magazine for knitting, but like I said, it's a little expensive. So when I clicked on the title of this article, I get a summary page here, including subjects. I can see that it has pictures, and if I click PDF full text, I can read the original article with the original pattern. And although you probably would not need to do this for, you're looking at hobbies just for yourself and for fun. But one of the reasons I like to point out these databases is that they have the fun information for stuff we can do during our free time, but they also show you some of the things that the databases have. Like almost all of our databases have some section that looks something like this over here, where you have the option to print, email, save, cite, export, get a permanent link. So as you're looking at your free time hobbies and crafts, you're also practicing using the databases. And by the way, when you're using our databases, almost all of our databases do offer pre-made citations for you to put into your works cited or reference list. And it's this button here that says cite. And there's a wide variety of citations. You're unlikely to need it if you're looking at a knitting pattern, but who knows? And there's all kinds of hobbies represented in that database. So that was the Hobbies and Crafts Reference Center. You can see, like I said, Home Improvement Reference Center. Lots of really good information here, and you don't have to, use it only for school. You're an HCC student, you have 24/7 access to these databases. Now, say you're into cooking, because we have a culinary arts program, we have some good culinary arts collections. Which include things like searchable recipes. So let's see. I just want to see what happens if I type in a recipe I found on the internet about 15 years ago and have not been able to find since. So I'm going to see if I can find it here in this database. Ooh, some reviews for cookbooks. That looks good. A Bon Appetit recipe index. And so this database is a little different from the one that I was just looking at, but it still has the same capabilities. You can still email, download, print. You can still cite, get a link, make highlights and notes. One of the things that's really cool about databases that are owned by Gale, which all look something like this, is that you can highlight something, like say I was interested in curried vegetables over couscous. This is not the recipe I was looking for, but say I was interested in trying this one. I can highlight it and then say, try this one. And then I can send it to my Google Drive, and it will go to my Google Drive with that highlight. And so now it's sending it. But this is a way that you can save different articles, both for your own personal use, like if you wanted to save recipes to try later and you wanted to give yourself notes, or if you're working on a paper and you have certain things that you think you're going to want to follow up on the papers, you can highlight it. Sometimes stuff doesn't work. That's okay. That happens. Sometimes it could be a problem with the site. Sometimes it's a problem with your computer. Don't panic. I just got a note saying I'm not sure I'm in the right meeting. This is the library life hacking meeting. So it's using the library. Okay. But yeah, as I was saying, sometimes you might run into technical glitches. Yes, your professor is here. So this should be the right place. All right. And so that is the culinary arts database. And so now you've seen several different databases that we have. You can experiment, you can look for different subjects. Something else, you can look under format. We have videos, we have databases that are just videos, that have documentaries, a few movies, a few popular movies, not very many, but a lot of really good documentaries and information about different cultures. I do want to go ahead and show you real quick the information about test prep, just because that's another great way to save money and save time. And the test prep information you can find most easily by going to the careers button. And the two that specifically are really good are the Learning Express library and the Mometrics e-library. And they're both really good in different ways. So I would encourage you to experiment with both of them to see which one works for you the best. As an example, I'll just show you Mometrics real quick. So say you're studying for the Hcc. You can just type your test name in the chat and it will show you all of these different options. So if you've ever looked at the Mometrics physical book, which is usually something called Secrets, this is the ebook version of that. And I just got a really good question in the chat. I noticed there is a citation tool. Is it recommended to use this tool? I do recommend using this tool. But with just one quick beware, which is that sometimes there are errors. I'm clicking on just one database to show you an example. So all of a sudden I drew a blank. Let me figure out what I want to do a quick search on. Let's see. I'll do another search on knitting. Let's just see what comes up. Okay. So let's pretend like I'm using this top article. I'm just picking it just to demonstrate the citation tool. So I click Cite. This one looks different because it's owned by a different company. And it gives us the option of MLA 8th, APA 7th, Chicago 7th, or Harvard. We have instructors here who use MLA, APA, and Chicago. I have not yet seen one use Harvard, but you know, it could happen. So if you're using MLA or APA, I would definitely start with this citation. So you would just copy and paste it. Now, after you've copied and pasted it, though, just a second. Okay, Dominique, I'm not sure if you're listening, but I think you've gotten an email from somebody. I'm not sure if Dominique has access.
Hi,
Is that my
Audrey. I will reply to your email shortly. Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so after you have downloaded or after you've copied and pasted this citation, you'll want to double check with um, actually we have guides. We have guides for MLA and APA that are really good. So definitely use it, but then check the guide. And that is one of the things that I was going to show you. And so I have gone back to the main page. I'm going to click Research Guides. And I clicked Guides for Learning Skills. And so you can look for your guide. So APA is one, MLA is another, and Chicago is another. And I'll talk a little bit more. So what you'll do is you've copied and pasted that citation. Now you just look real quick at the formatting guidelines and the in-text citations and make sure that it's written the same way. And this is something that you can find some pretty good resources on our site, and also that sort of segues into the next section of my presentation, which was that you can learn a lot more from the library with our webinars and programs. So we have scheduled webinars. Have any of you taken a webinar with the library before? You can just type Y if you have. Programs. This program is in conjunction with Career Services and Student Life. We also have a program called Discovery Days. We've got some reading groups. We've got the Reading Culture, which is across several different departments of HCC. So we have a lot of different programs where you can learn new things. We also have our Ask a Librarian and our chat. And so I showed you the chat on our main page that pops up if you're on the library page for more than a couple minutes. But now I will show you the scheduled webinars. I'm going back to the library main page. I consider the library main page my reset button. So if I've gone too far in the weeds and I've gotten myself lost, I just get myself back to the main page and start over again. A couple different ways you can see what kind of programs we have. Down at the very bottom, we're just passing Flipster. You'll see two different, I see these as two different boxes of information. This box called Library Resources with the 3 columns, and then this lower block of information. So you can click on Attend a Webinar, and that will take you to our webinar schedule page, or you can look at our online events and library webinars. And when you click on these, they will take you to a place where you can register. Like tomorrow, we have a trivia contest at 2 o'clock, where, the winner just basically gets bragging rights. We've got some gardening stuff coming up. We've got some reading culture events coming up. A poet who lives in Houston is going to visit with us on Friday, March 12th. And the reading culture program is it's a program where we all read the same book and we learn about the country where the book is set. I talked about this at the very beginning. Welcome to Lagos, and the country is Nigeria. People who participate in at least 2 of the events and write an essay can compete to win a scholarship. And so we have $1,000 scholarship and 2 $500 scholarships. Even if you're not competing for the scholarship, though, and I encourage you to compete for scholarships anytime you have that option, even if you're not competing for the scholarship, you are welcome to attend any of the events at any time because I think they're going to be really good. Coming up later this week, we've got an event about tea. And then the library webinars are all kinds of subjects. I find it easier to look for the webinars by going to the attend a webinar. And you can see our calendar of webinars coming up. And so earlier I was talking about style guides. We have webinars for MLA style, APA style, and Chicago style. We also have webinars on different databases. We have 2 different types of fake news webinars. We've got academic integrity, using Eagle Library Search, using Nexus Uni. For those of you who are looking up careers, Nexus Uni is a really good resource. It can be a little complicated, so if you have a chance to go to a webinar for it, I highly encourage it. And some different career research, primary sources. You know, what are primary sources? How do you find them? How do you use them? Art history. We have all kinds of webinars. And these are open to anybody who wants to take them. So for example, you see we have fashion resources, but that is not just limited to, you know, people taking fashion. People taking fashion will probably understand it better, but if you find that interesting, you would be welcome to join it. And now I am open for any questions you might have about our page, about our resources. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something new about the library that you didn't know before. Well, I'm not seeing any questions come in, and I know that we've got some closing remarks to say. Like I said, thank you all for joining me. If you liked this slideshow, this is from a site called Slides Carnival. They make really great slideshows. One of the things I like about them is that they help you structure your show. So I want to make sure that they get the credit for the presentation. The photographs are from Unsplash, Women of Color in Tech, and my mind just completely blanked. And then, of course, government photos, which those are often free. Okay, so I did get a good question here. Sometimes I cannot enter a database because I got an error. What should I do? The first thing I do when I get that error is I switch browsers. I normally use Safari, but I'd say about a third of the time when I try to access a database in Safari, I get an error. So I usually will switch to Chrome, and that usually will solve the problem. If that doesn't solve the problem, I will sometimes go into the file menu and try to use an incognito window. So I'll click, and it's a private window in other browsers. In Chrome, it's an incognito window. So I'll try the page in that. If that doesn't work, changing the browser and the private window doesn't work, I would go on to chat, go onto the library chat, because if those 2 things didn't work, it could be a problem that we're having and not a problem that you're having. Sometimes that happens. So I would always double check. If you go on the chat and they say everything's fine, then I would restart the computer. And if you have any questions, you can email me. That's the best way to get a hold of me with questions. And if there are no further questions for the group, then I will pass it along to Dominique and Tambula to close us out.
Hi, thank you everyone for attending. If you are attending this event, this qualifies for our Eagle Points. I will drop a link in the chat so that you guys can learn more about Eagle Points. But by attending this event, you do earn an Eagle Point that you can use in our store, I guess, to redeem HGC swag. So I will drop that there. Please allow 2 business days for your attendance to be recorded. Additionally, we do have some e-gift cards that we're going to be raffling off. So once I pull the attendance list, once the attendance list is available via WebEx, I will pull that and then we put it in a random picker. And we choose 3 students to award $25 e-gift cards to. You will receive a follow-up email with all of this information. So the email will say, thank you for attending the event. It will also have a link to the playback. I know that there were at least a couple of students who had issues joining, who may have joined late. So if that is the case, don't worry. The recording playback will be available sometime tomorrow. And so the email will include the link to the recording playback, the winners of the e-gift cards, and then more information about Eagle Points as well. If you do win the e-gift card, please be on the lookout for an email to your student email within the next 24 hours. You will receive an email. It'll say you won, and to complete this form to redeem your e-gift card. And that's going to be it for me, Miss Kristen.
Great, then thank you all so much for joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.